there are some directors who'll say, "Oh, I make movies for myself," and they make some fantastic movies, and then there are others who say, "Well, it's all about the audience,"
and they make fantastic movies.
And they make fantastic movies. So where do you see that balance?
The thing is, the way we view film, it's really vertical. You know, we look up at filmmakers, or in the way that, strangely, we look up to painters or we look up to writers in general. But the leeway of failure, for failure, that we give a painter or a writer or a poet is far less public and far wider than the one a filmmaker has.
Do you look at like the careers of kind of people like Woody Allen and kind of Bergman and kind of feel envious that they've had all that they constantly were able to kind of keep it?
Those are not careers that I find either attainable or envious.
Yeah.
I mean, those are completely. I mean, the people I relate to are people. I love Cronenberg.
Yeah.
Which that's an ideal career for me, because that's a guy that does what he does, and a certain sector of the audience knows what he does and goes and shows up.
Yeah.
And he can expand and do the fly.
For example, someone like Terry Gilliam, who's never ever submitted and done what people think that he should be doing, and you see how heartbreaking his career really has been, and how tough it has been to make.
He breaks many more rules than people give him credit for, not on the behavior, which he does, but on how brilliantly he subverts what we expect from a regular storytelling journey. Because we're coming to a dangerous point in many ways, because both as creators and as spectators, we are responding to the model of movie making and screenplay writing that Hollywood has created and has been enunciated by people like Syd Field, for example, and you find it that even people with a deeper cinematic culture, people that you think should know that there's no need for a payoff, literary wise. I mean, literature, you can never pay off something. It's just a color. They still can say, you know, that or that didn't pay off, or that is not logical, because and you know, there are so many characters that get thwarted that way, because they are made to have logical journeys, as opposed to emotionally charged journeys. I mean, many of Hitchcock's movies wouldn't exist, you know, if Roger Thornhill in North by Northwest just turns around and talks to the right person and says, look, this is what's happening to me, it's a confusion, it's perfectly, no, the melodrama and the suspension of the logical rules for an emotional journey is completely needed, and more and older than the stuff we demand from Act 1, Act 2, plot point 1, plot point 2, turning point, structure paradigm like the McKee or Syd Field would demand. And in that, Hollywood, Borges says something very beautiful about storytelling. He says that he prefers to use the folktale, the fairy tale or the fable as a narrative form, because it supersedes and precedes the psychological depth of the novel, you know, and he's right. When we want to validate every tale by logic or psychological validity, I think we're limiting the whole range of a storyteller to something that resembles reality.
Well, in the grand history, if you lay out all of human history, I mean, it's such an unusual thing that we've lost the ability to tell a story
for
as
what
a
the
fable.
story what the story needs to be told as.
Yeah.
You know, but I tell you, if you read, if you dwell in a film community in the internet for any length of time, you will find the people that raise the hammer of logic, or the hammer of the Syd Field McKee style of paradigm, and they can say No Country for Old Men is a terrible screenplay because there's no ending.
Right.
And you go, well, sorry, but as an artistic, as a literary or a narrative form, is a perfectly successful movie.
Yeah.
It's a beautifully successful movie.
Yeah.
And the fact that those guys choose to end it like that only talks about what we should be doing more often. You know, we should be compelled to do that, and we don't.